Welcome back. The news in details. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri said the ongoing Israeli war in Gaza makes it imperative on all peace-loving forces to work to restore and consolidate regional stability in the Middle East, especially after official references were made over the use of nuclear weapons against the Palestinian people. Spokesman of the Foreign Ministry, Ambassador Ahmed Abu Zaid, said the top diplomat made these remarks as he delivered Egypt's statement before a high-level meeting of the Disarmament Conference in Geneva. The Egyptian paper reviewed the rising security challenges facing the world today, deploring a stalemate of the Disarmament Conference over the past years that prevented it from performing its due role, amid insistence by some countries on rejecting any real progress towards nuclear disarmament. The minister asserted Egypt's condemnation to all attacks targeting civilians, emphasizing on the necessity of an immediate halt to the Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people and an unhindered flow of aid into the Gaza Strip. Also addressing the 55th round of the UN Human Rights Council high-profile meetings in Geneva, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri on Monday described as being shamefully ignoring by international parties the humanitarian suffering of Palestinians. Shukri noted that the status quo in the occupied Palestinian territories is the result of Israeli occupation policies and practices extended for more than 75 years and laying a siege on the Gaza Strip for more than 16 years, in addition to the denial of essential rights of the Palestinian people. Egypt's top diplomat warned against the disastrous humanitarian repercussions befalling civilians in Gaza in case of any military operation in the Palestinian city of Rafah. He also warned of Rafah invasion's threat to the entire region's security and stability. The meetings are being organized by Palestine to discuss the humanitarian conditions in the occupied Palestinian territories, particularly in war-torn Gaza. The ministerial committee designated by the Joint Arab-Islamic Summit on Monday warned against the extremely dangerous repercussions of targeting the Palestinian city of Rafah in Gaza. The note came in a final communique issued at the end of the foreign ministers of the committee's member states meeting, including Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in Geneva. The committee members renewed their rejection of the continued Israeli occupation's aggression on the Gaza Strip and reiterated a call for an immediate ceasefire which ensures the protection of civilians in the Palestinian enclave. They also called for repelling Israeli deeds which hurdle the entrance of urgent relief aid to the Strip and expressed their refusal of the forced evacuation of Palestinians. The ministers also stressed on the importance of creating the proper atmosphere for the resumption of serious peace negotiations towards the establishment of an independent Palestinian state along the 1967 borderline. On the sidelines of his participation in the Disarmament Conference in Geneva, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri on Monday met his Jordanian counterpart, Ayman al-Safadi. The two diplomats warned against the repercussions of a ground military operation in the Palestinian Rafah city, which will only lead to double the scale of a humanitarian catastrophe from which civilians suffer. They asserted the importance of allowing humanitarian aid into the besieged Strip and preventing the spread of ongoing conflict to the entire region, threatening its security and stability. Shukri also expressed Egypt's concern over the deteriorating conditions in the West Bank, which witnesses intensified Israeli occupation military attacks since the eruption of the war in Gaza on October 7th. Separately, the top diplomat met the UN Special Envoy to Syria, Geir Pedersen, saying that he appreciates the UN top official's keen interest to coordinate with Egypt regarding developments in the Syrian file. Shukri affirmed that Egypt is also keen to hold continued coordination with members of the Arab Contact Group on Syria for the implementation of recommendations made up in the Oman and Cairo meetings, with the aim of introducing comprehensive, drastic solutions to the Syrian crisis. The 71st meeting of the Airports Council International Africa continued its activities on Monday in Cairo, focusing on enhancing the aviation sector both regionally and internationally. The exhibition and conference were held, attended by the Minister of Civil Aviation, Mohamed Abbas Helmi, Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Ahmed Isa, and the President of the ACI Africa, Emmanuel Chavez. Nile TV's correspondent Ahmed Nader attended the event and conducted the following interview.
On the sidelines of the Airports Council International in Cairo, I'm honored to be having with me on Nile TV International for today is Mrs. Olubomi Koko, the Managing Director of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and the board member of the ACI. Thank you very much for being with us today on Nile TV International. I would like to ask you more about the place of hosting Egypt itself, to be choosing Egypt to be hosting the 71st session of the ACI. Why Egypt today?
Thank you very much. It's amazing to be here. Obviously exciting times. If you look at Egypt within the African context and the passenger traffic, currently Egypt has the largest passenger traffic in the African. Egypt has the largest passenger traffic in Africa, followed by a few other countries, South Africa, Nigeria being number 4. Ideally, it's amazing for us to be here, one, because it connects us, the network of potential airlines that are here today. Also, the beautiful city and the amazing tourist environment makes it ideal for us to have such an amazing event here with the ACI. So we're excited to be here and looking forward to the remaining couple of days.
Yes, Nigeria is one of the biggest economies in Africa, if not the biggest in recent times. What do you expect in terms of economic cooperation between Egypt and Nigeria in specific, and Egypt and Africa in general in this field?
Absolutely. Amazing question again. So in terms of economic cooperation, there's been ongoing conversations between the two countries to foster additional bilateral trade. We also had conversations around SATEM over the last couple of days to see how we can open up some additional routes. Obviously, that will, one, help us drive trade, help us drive connectivity, and link the different areas. And expectedly, that would help us drive economic development, GDP growth, and open up some additional corridors for trade in line with AFTA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Olubomi Koko, the Managing Director of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and the board member of the ACI. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. These were the political news. Now it's time for the economic updates, and these are the headlines. Welcome back. The second round of the National Dialogue commenced on Monday with a key focus on economic issues. The Economic National Dialogue sessions will continue for 4 days, with the attendance of concerned ministries and economic experts to tackle obstacles related to inflation, public debt and budget deficit, in addition to public investments and the policy of state possession. While meeting members of the National Council Board of Trustees of the National Dialogue with the attendance of General Coordinator of the Dialogue, Diyar Ashwan, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli pointed to the importance of all sessions in the framework of the National Dialogue in drawing the map of work priorities during the upcoming phase. Moreover, Madbouli stressed on the importance of joint coordination group of the government and National Dialogue to follow up on the directives and results of the first round of the dialogue. Egypt's stock market indices collectively went up in the trading session on Monday after selective purchasing operations by Arab and foreign investment funds reaching high rates and helped the stock market exceed its losses in the previous trading session on Sunday. The benchmark EGX 30 index jumped by 3.9%. The EGX 70 index for small and medium businesses also added 0.42%. And the broad EGX 100 index went up by 1.29% at the closure. Meanwhile, the market capital of listed companies gained about £50 billion to close at £2,023 billion amid deals and transactions of about £70 billion.